Hi everyone, fellow speechcrafters and also fellow Toastmasters, everyone. It's so great to have you here. And this morning, I have a very short session, 5 to 7 minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about word choice. So let me share my screen with you all. And could you confirm that you can all see my slide?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So we're talking today about word choice. Now, this is a short bio of me, so you can follow me on my Instagram at Christopher Halim. So let's begin. Why is word choice important? We know as a speaker, as a Toastmasters also, word choice is very important because the words make up the sentences, right? And the sentences makes up a speech. And a speech is what gets delivered to the audience. So if our word choices is not good or we have problems with our word choices, we can never deliver a good speech. So learning word choice is very important because it can dramatically improve your speech. Now, before we get further, let me just share two sentences and I want to ask you all to read it and just analyze a little bit about the difference between the two sentences. So the first sentences that I have is, the man walked into the old house because it was dark outside. Okay, so this is the first sentence. And then I also have the second sentence, which is, the stranger crept into the abandoned mansion as shadows swallowed the streets. Now, if we look at these two sentences, the fundamental meaning is the same, right? There's a person walking into a building, and there's also the time of day, which is dark, right? But what makes these two sentences different is the word choice. So if we want to analyze these two sentences, the first one is the man walked. So walk in here is just a functional movement, right? We know that, oh, a person just walked. Okay. Into the old house. Now the old house here is just a building, right? And you have also the last part, which is it was dark outside. Okay, is this a weather report? It's just dark. All right. Now, if we compare this first sentence into the second sentence, which is the stranger crept into the abandoned mansion as shadows swallowed the street, we can already see the difference, right? The stranger crept. Now, crept here, it builds up mystery, right? Is he a thief? Is he trying to do something? Because he crept instead of walk. Well, essentially, it means almost the same, right? It's just the word choices that are different. And the second one, we have into the abandoned mansion. Now, abandoned mansion is almost the same as an old house. Don't you agree? An abandoned mansion is literally an old house. But if we choose the word abandoned mansion, it makes it more specific and more haunting, the feeling, right? And the last one, as shadows swallowed the street. It's the same situation. It's dark. But when we use the word shadow and we use the word swallowed, it changes the atmosphere into a more haunting atmosphere. So these two sentences, what's different? The meaning is fundamentally the same. But what makes it sound very different is our word choices, right? If we change some words into a different word, we can change the entire feeling of the sentence, and eventually we can change the feeling of an entire speech. So if you guys have seen all of the great speakers, you can notice that they are using like some of the unique words in their speech, and it makes the speech feels different, feels more professional, feels more polished, and we can, if they're doing storytelling, we can feel more immersed just by changing the words. So this is the most important thing about the word choices. Now, I'm sure you all have created your own speech, you've written your own speech and presented it, and I'm sure you're familiar with word choices. But in this short session, I want you to just remember that when we're writing a speech, we do not want to think our mind, because it's usually the most common words, right? But if we want to think deeper and choose a more specific word, we can elevate our speech to become more engaging and more interesting. Okay, so our word choice can determine how effective we can communicate. Either it's with our peers or when we're on stage. A simple word choice can change the way we communicate more effectively. So this is very important. Now, in this short session, I want to share my quick tips on word choices. The first one is you must understand your audience and adjust your word choices. Now, what does it mean by understanding the audience? It means that when we're speaking, we should know who we are speaking to. If they are a more specific group of people, for example, people talking about running, for example, then we can throw in more specific word choices and jargons because they will understand, right? We're talking about the running shoes, we're talking about pace and everything, they will understand. But to the general public, they will not understand that, right? So if we're speaking to a more general audience, we should use more general word choices, the words that everyone can learn and can understand. And the second one is be careful of using harsh or sensitive words, even for jokes. I know we sometimes get carried away, right? We like to play jokes with certain words, especially talking about maybe a little bit of politics, a little bit of race and everything. But we must be careful to not use it too much, or else it will be offended to certain kinds of people groups. The third one is we can improve our word choice skills. How? By learning new vocabularies. We can learn it from movies, we can learn from other people's speech, we can read books. If we have a lot of vocabulary on our arsenal, we can use it to build a more engaging speech and choose more interesting word choices. And the last one is practice a lot, because we may not be able to use specific technical words on the first time we create a speech, but over time, our word choices will get more interesting, and I think you will craft eventually a more engaging and appealing speech to listen to. And that's all I want to share for today. I see the timer is already turning red. And I hope you guys learned something from my short session and can apply a better word choice on your next speech. Thank you so much, and back to you, Toastmaster of the meeting.